Mario, I called it, guy. I called it like 3 years ago when we were talking at breakfast when we were still in high school. The Raiders moved out of Oakland, and so did the Warriors. The first thing I said, the A's are gonna follow them. Well, guess what, Mario? It looks like it's gonna happen. And it's not looking good for Oakland, Mario, because the A's are starting to look at relocations where they can go to. They got the blessing from MLB, so they can go out and look for places to relocate to. And the reason why they're doing that is because for years, Mario, and I'm not talking about like 5 years. I'm talking like decades, like about a couple of decades now, Mario. They've been searching for a new ballpark. They've been trying to get one in Oakland. They proposed one in San Jose, but the Giants, the San Francisco Giants ended up what do you call it? They made a lawsuit about it, so they can't move to San Jose now. That's San Francisco's territory, which is a pretty dumb case. If you want to look that up, you can. I won't explain that. In their most recent rendering, which is the Howard Terminal Ballpark, it's like a riverfront stadium. It's really really cool, Mar. It's a really cool proposal, but the problem is that Oakland is just it. There's just so much problems with it. There's a lot of money going into the project. It's just a mess. It really is. There's a lot of money, like I said. It's including $450 million in community benefits, $955 million in general funding revenues, and $855 million commitment from the city for infrastructure improvements. So there's a lot going on here, Mario. There really is. And there is a statement from MLB themselves. They said, and I quote, MLB is concerned with the rate of progress on the A's new ballpark efforts with local officials and other stakeholders in Oakland. The A's have worked very hard to advance a new ballpark in downtown Oakland for the last 4 years, investing significant resources while facing multiple roadblocks. We know they remain deeply committed to succeeding in Oakland, and two other sports franchises recently leaving the community, the Raiders and the Warriors. Their commitment to Oakland is now more important than ever. Oakland Coliseum site is not a viable option for the future vision of baseball. We have instructed the Athletics to begin to explore other markets while they continue to pursue a waterfront ballpark in Oakland. The Athletics need a new ballpark to remain competitive, so it is now in our best interest to also consider other markets. So yeah, Mario, it's not looking good for Oakland. Let me start off with this, okay? Because I called this a while ago, and before I do, the article was written by Jeff Passan of ESPN. So let me go first, okay? Oh, A's, if you're really gonna move, do yourself a favor. Move to Las Vegas. Okay, you are doing yourself a favor by doing that. Okay, that is if you're gonna move, that's your number one city to go to. That's in my opinion anyway. There's also other cities they can go to, Mario. They can go to Portland. I know they have the Trailblazers there. That's their only franchise, so they could go there. They could go to New Orleans. That'd be a pretty nice place for them. Charlotte, they could go across the country and go to Charlotte. That'd be a really nice place for them. The Hornets and the Panthers and the Hurricanes are there. Well, actually, no, the Hurricanes are somewhere in South Carolina, but they're not in Charlotte. Um, ESPN actually says they could go to Vancouver as well or Montreal, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work, but hey, they could do it if it works. But let me explain something to you, Mario. Okay, the Oakland A's have been trying to get a ballpark for years now, for many, many years, Mario. And the Coliseum, I'm gonna be honest, it's a dump. I'm sorry for you A's fans out there, and I'm pretty sure most, if not all, of you agree with me. But that place is a dump. It was built in an era where multi-purpose stadiums were very, very common. St. Louis had one, Cincinnati had one, San Diego had one, um, Philadelphia had one. There was a lot of cities that had a Mario, and that's just what it was built for. It was built to accommodate football and baseball. And the idea, when you think about it, it makes sense. You put two franchises in one stadium for the cost of one stadium. It makes sense, right? Although here's the problem, Mario. No one likes sharing. Not anymore, anyway. No one likes sharing. And not only that, but when you really think about it, to put a football field onto a baseball field, it's not only disrespectful to both sports, but it's just I don't know. Like I know both sports use different grass. I mean, now the standard's turf, which is I'm not really a big fan of turf, but they use it anyways for specific stadiums. I know some of them use some football fields use them for soccer or for indoor stadiums because they can't really grow grass indoors. Same thing with baseball; they do it for indoor purposes or whatnot. Um, yeah, but you just can't fit a football field properly on the baseball field. So while the idea made sense back in the day, and it was also cost cutting, so it made a lot of sense, but it wasn't going to accommodate perfectly. That's why other teams, the Orioles were the first team to do it when they built Camden Yards back in the 90s. Absolutely gorgeous ballpark, and it was very, very successful. It was a baseball only stadium, right? And it was situated in downtown Baltimore. It was a beautiful. It still is a beautiful ballpark. I've been there, and it's a gorgeous ballpark. It really is. Not every seat in there is absolutely perfect. You get a really great view of that ballpark. Now you may be wondering, well, why do places like Fenway Park or Wrigley Field, Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium, or Kauffman Stadium get to stay? Because not only are they specific to their sport, but they constantly upgrade the ballparks. I mean, I think in Fenway, and I actually seen this. I think they're building a theater behind it to make it more modern, more usable when it's not being used. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. Dodger Stadium just got an upgrade. I think Kauffman Stadium did as well. I'm not sure, but those are older ballparks that are constantly being upgraded. You know what I mean? The Coliseum, they've been having sewage leaks. Um, some of the seats don't even fold up. When you go in the stadium, the seats are fold up. Some of them don't even fold up. I've seen pictures of it. It's really crazy, Mario. It really is. So Oakland needs to figure that out. The only way you can fix the situation is if you give them a new ballpark. There's no other way to fix it. You know what I mean? And again, if they can't do that, then unfortunately the Oakland A's are going to have to move out. You know what I mean? Because they can't, like MLB said, the Oakland Coliseum is no longer fit. It hasn't been fit for years. It hasn't been fit for years. It really hasn't been. So my advice to Oakland, you better figure it out. The only thing you can do is give them a stadium, and if you can't do that, say goodbye. You know what I mean? Because the Warriors moved across the bay to San Francisco. The Raiders moved to Las Vegas, and who knows where the A's are going to move. Personally, I think the best place for them to move is Las Vegas. You're doing yourself a favor. You're on the strip. You got a couple of other teams there. You got hotels. You got retail stores. You got bars. You got casinos. You got strip clubs if you even want to go there. You got everything there. You're doing yourself a favor by doing build your stadium on the strip. There you go. You just did yourself a favor. But like I said, there was also places that I mentioned earlier. So with that being said, I do wish Oakland and the Oakland A's the best of luck in trying to figure this out. Um, and if there's an update about this, we will give it to you guys. But as of right now, the A's are looking for places to move to. So I do wish them the best of luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. The Oakland A's, they definitely needed an identity switch for a long time now. Okay, I mean, it's getting to the point where they're known as a letter. Like, it's that shouldn't be an MLB team right there, who is known as a letter, or athletics. Like, it shouldn't be. So they've definitely needed an identity switch for a long time, and I completely agree. Las Vegas is the perfect place. Like you said, you talked about how they're on the strip. There's a bunch of casinos. You're really looking at everything that is in Las Vegas. Is a perfect place. You got the other teams that moved from Oakland to Las Vegas, like the Raiders. Well, like that's the only team, but regardless, but you got the Golden Knights. So Vegas is really starting to turn into a sports city, Nate. And it's kind of weird because the first team to ever go to Vegas was the Knights, and when we first talked about it, I was a little unsure about it because Vegas is like one of the number one places to do sports betting. You got the MGM Grand like right there, Caesar's Palace. Those places were like famously known for having boxing matches over there. So I was a little hesitant at first because I thought it would like kind of affect betting a little bit. But then when I seen the Raiders go to Las Vegas, I realized I was like, Las Vegas is turning into a betting scene very, very quick. And I'm going to be honest with you, all these teams moving to Las Vegas, I think it's really going to affect the betting tremendously. And the reason why I say that is because before, when you went to Vegas, there were people who were fans of a lot of different teams, because Vegas didn't have a team. Now they almost got like a whole sports, what's the word I'm looking for? They got a whole team colony basically, like
Yeah,
obviously New England, they got the Red Sox, they got the Patriots, they got the Bruins, they got the Celtics. New York has their like the Islanders, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Knicks. They got all the Nets, all theirs. Vegas is starting to turn into that. They're starting to build a whole sports community over there. And I think that's really going to affect betting. I really do believe it because even if Vegas has to be the number one place for betting, there's not a question about it. So the fact that there are going to be teams that are represented Vegas, most people are going to want to bet for their favorite team because that's their favorite. They don't want to bet against them. For instance, when I betted for Jorge Masvidal, in my head, I had a feeling that Kamara was going to win, but I had to rock with my guy. It's the same thing with Vegas. They're going to have to rock with their teams, and I think betting is really going to start being affected. But again, I do agree with you. I think Vegas is the perfect place to have it because that is the perfect place to have a sports team. First of all, Oakland, when you really look at California and you look at the teams, you look at the Golden State Warriors, you look at all of the LA teams between the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, the Angels, you look
Dodgers,
at the
yeah,
Dodgers, right? You look at all those LA teams. Oakland is not a place where I don't think sports should be happening. I'm sorry, but it's not.
yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think it should be a place. So the fact that the Oakland A's are finally creating an identity switch by going to Las Vegas, I love. Hopefully, they go to Las Vegas again. We don't know where they're going to go. Like you said, they could go to Canada, which I don't think is a great place to go.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
against Canada. It's just not. It's just not the best place. I don't think to have a baseball team. Um, Now there's other teams too, obviously, that don't have a lot of sports. You look at Portland, you look at Charlotte. Those places could definitely build one. Charlotte, I would really like to see, and the reason why is because Charlotte has so many affiliates, or the Carolinas, they have so many affiliates that are part of baseball teams that aren't even near them. Like the Cubs have affiliates in South Carolina. The Orioles have affiliates in Carolina. Like, I mean, so it would be nice to have a Major League Baseball team close to affiliates. You get what I'm saying? Because if you really think about it, Nate, Chicago and Baltimore are nowhere near South Carolina. Well, Baltimore is a little close, but you get the point. It's still a far drive away and stuff. So it just doesn't make any sense. So if they could build like a baseball team in Carolina, I mean, I'd love that. So that's a great place. But I think Las Vegas is the best place. I think revenue will definitely gain because it's Las Vegas, and everybody goes there because they want to bet or because it's a huge sports scene. The casinos are everywhere. I think that would be a great place. And honestly, if they were building the stadium or the stadium or wherever it is, I hope that they build it near the MGM Grand.
Yeah,
I
because
hope,
that's what the Raiders did with the Legion Stadium. It's like right there, and
right,
then the T-Mobile Arena is like right down the strip.
right. Now, obviously, you got to find an area, and that's going to be a little tough. But I hope
Yeah,
they build
yeah.
it as closest to the MGM Grand as they possibly can, because when you want to talk about you want to talk about famous places where betting really goes on. That's the perfect place right there. Is the MGM Grand. So I wouldn't have a problem with them going as close to the MGM Grand as possible. But you know what, Nate? With that being said, I wish the Oakland A's the best of luck, which I don't think they're going to become the Oakland A's no more. I think they're going to create a whole identity. I think they're going to change that name completely. Hell, they might even change the colors. You never know.
I wouldn't want them to do that, but the name that's definitely gonna happen.
Hey, you never know. So I mean, with that being said, I do wish them the best of luck. Hopefully they can find a new place, that can bring them a lot of fans and that can bring them more revenue. It is unfortunate for the fans of the Oakland A's, because and the fans that are in Oakland, considering the fact that they're not going to be able to watch their favorite team. But overall, though, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a great transition for that team, and I think it's really going to build a completely different identity around them. So with that being said, I wish them the best of luck, and hopefully they can find something that will please everybody.